home where Chris and Shanann Watts lived. The home where they planned to raise their family together and build a wonderful life together. Is that home at 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado, haunted? Is there paranormal activity in that house? Since the time this horrible tragedy occurred in August of 2018, there has been great speculation that there is in fact paranormal activity at the Watts house and that it's haunted, and that perhaps even it was some kind of an evil energy or spirit that compelled Chris Watts to commit the atrocities that he did.
The house still stands on Saratoga Trail, quiet and unchanged, its beige walls catching the same Colorado sunlight they did years ago. Cars pass by slowly now, not because of traffic, but because people still look. They always look. What once appeared to be an ordinary family home has become something else entirely, a fixed point in America's collective memory, frozen at the moment everything went wrong. Inside those walls, silence has replaced laughter, and absence has replaced life. And even now, long after the headlines faded, one question refuses to disappear. Who could ever live here again? In August of 2018, the story of the Watts family shattered the illusion of suburban safety. A quiet street became a crime scene. A front door became a symbol. What happened inside this home did not unfold in a single violent moment, but through a slow erosion of trust, intimacy, and truth. The kind of collapse that doesn't announce itself until it's already too late. When investigators first arrived, there were no signs of a struggle visible from the outside. No broken windows, no forced entry, just a house that looked exactly as it should except for the people who were missing. That contrast is what still haunts those who know the case. The idea that horror doesn't always leave marks. Sometimes it blends in. Sometimes it waits behind closed doors, hiding in routine, smiling family photos and carefully maintained appearances. Today, the Watts house exists as both a physical structure and a psychological landmark. It represents the uncomfortable truth that evil doesn't always come from the shadows. Sometimes it grows quietly in places that feel safe, familiar, and normal. As we begin this story, we're not just stepping back into a crime that shocked the world. We're stepping into a space that still carries unanswered questions, emotional weight, and a chilling legacy that time has failed to erase. If stories like this matter to you, stories that look beyond headlines and into the darker corners of human behavior, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications. Each week, we explore the truths that linger long after the lights go out. Long after the Watts case faded from nightly news cycles, the house itself began a second life online. Not as a home, but as a subject of rumors, theories, and whispered unease. Photos of its exterior circulated endlessly, each one dissected by strangers searching for something unseen. To many, the house stopped being real estate and became a vessel, one believed to hold echoes of what happened inside. Some claimed the house felt wrong the moment they stood near it. Neighbors spoke of an unnatural stillness, a silence that felt heavier than the quiet of an empty home. Online forums filled with stories from people who said they drove past at night and felt compelled to slow down, as if the house pulled at their attention. Others described lights turning on unexpectedly, or the sense of being watched, even though the property sat vacant for long stretches of time. None of it was proven. All of it was shared with conviction. There were rumors that potential buyers walked away after stepping inside, overwhelmed by emotion they couldn't explain. Some said the air felt dense, as if tragedy had soaked into the walls. Paranormal investigators speculated about residual energy, suggesting that extreme violence can leave psychological imprints on a space. These claims were never backed by evidence, but they spread anyway, feeding a growing mythos around the house. More unsettling than ghost stories was the way people treated the property as a destination. True crime tourists traveled to Saratoga Trail to take photos, stand on the sidewalk, and imagine the moments that unfolded there. For the community, this turned a place of private horror into a public spectacle. The house became a reminder that in the age of viral crime, even grief can be consumed. Yet beneath every rumor is something more grounded and more disturbing. The fear wasn't really about hauntings or shadows in empty rooms. It was about what the house represents. A place where normal life appeared intact until it suddenly was. A reminder that the most terrifying stories don't always leave visible scars. If this exploration is resonating with you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications.
Wow, guys, please,
Each
please
chapter
leave a
uncovers
comment.
not
Let me
just
know
what
you think
happened,
about that.
but why
Can you
it still
hear it?
refuses to
Do
let
you
go.
think it's just random noise? Do you think it is something paranormal? I'm just going to play you one other EVP sound that I found while I was making this video, and I don't think it has been found before. At least it's not included in content about the EVPs, perhaps in this body cam footage as they go through the Watts house. Or I should say, I haven't seen it in any content of the sort that I just described. So if I'm wrong, don't crucify me in the comments. You can just let me know that you have heard it before and where you heard it, and that would be great. And this particular one starts kind of a whole series of a couple minutes of a few EVPs, some sort of heavy activity, if you want to call it that. Take a listen.
It could mean a high intense fight. So it could mean several things because the body chemistry changes.
Sure.
On all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of these are motion activated.
Did you guys hear that? Chris. Yeah, so clear as day, Chris. Right after that, the in-home alarm, beep beep. Now, I want you to notice what Jane the dog handler is talking about right before you hear that EVP.
It could mean a high intense fight. So it could mean several things because the body chemistry changes.
Sure.
On all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So again, as I was making this video, I noticed that every time you hear an EVP, something is said by someone or something is done immediately preceding it that would kind of invoke the energy of what is being uttered by that disembodied voice. Jane is discussing how the dog is getting a little excited, and that excitement could be caused by the smell of a high intensity fight, because a high intensity fight is going to change your hormonal composition. It's going to make you smell different to a sensitive animal like a dog, and this dog in particular is a search and rescue dog. So Jane's dog is trained to pick up on those smells of extreme distress. So that EVP, after the Vivint alarm system goes off and Officer Line says, they're usually motion detected alarms. That's kind of interesting too. That says, Chris, or that sounds like it says, Chris. That starts off a series of what could be considered, and I tend to believe, are paranormal occurrences. So 2 of them being EVPs, and then something shocking happens that is not an EVP because Officer Lines and Jane, the dog handler, hear it as well. So we're together going to watch a segment of Officer Lines body cam footage that is just about 2.5 minutes long, that is a series of potential paranormal occurrences. Pay close attention.
A lot of these are motion activated. These are the shoes that she took the scent off of.
Okay. That's you. So there's plenty of first engine here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that? Wow.
Okay, so a lot in the potentially paranormal realm happened there in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to continue to play this video a little bit so you can see the reaction of Jane the dog handler and the officer to hearing that sound in the closet. So first, Jane is talking about, what the dog indicating or acting a certain way might mean. It might mean distress because the body chemistry changes and that's what's going on. And then we hear Chris right after the Vivint alarm goes off, and then Officer Lines notes that many of the sensors are motion activated. Then shortly after that, they're going into Shanann's office. They're talking about Shanann's scent, looking in her closet, and we hear, "Mommy." And I tell you guys, I don't know, let me know what you think, but the way you hear, "Mommy," I can completely hear Bella saying it to me. It almost sounds like Bella's voice. Now, maybe I am just hearing that because I know what I know about the case and about Bella, but please let me know what you think.
Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that noise came.
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It might. It sort of sounded like it.
Something. I heard it.
That one. Did you hear it?
I did.
Sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Where did that come from? Because all he did was go straight in there. That was strange. Well, we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around and looked.
So again, in that cluster of unexplained sounds, we have the sound Chris. And then in Shanann's office, we hear, "Mommy." Shortly right before, we hear the giggles in the closet that clearly Jane the dog handler was freaked out by, don't you think? I mean, she scooted right out of there. She asked Officer Lines, "Why didn't you go in there and step on that blue thing? See if that's what made the noise." She's explaining the dog just walked straight back, and she clearly does not see anything in her mind that could have possibly made that sound, and she is bugged out. I think Officer Lines is a little, weary too, but, she's a cop and she's playing it cool. What do you guys think about that? Now, here is something that I find to be very, very interesting. The place in the house where this cluster of unexplained sounds occurred. Before we hear the unexplained sound that sounds like Chris, Jane is out in the hallway outside of Shanann's office, and in that same hallway right next door is the downstairs bathroom. The office and the bathroom are kind of in their own little hallway here, and then on either side of that office bathroom hallway is the entrance to the garage, and then right around the other corner is the entrance to the stairway down into the basement. And the office and the bathroom are kind of in their own little hallway here, and then on either side of that office bathroom hallway is the entrance to the garage, and then right around the other corner is the entrance to the stairway down into the basement. Now, if you have watched a lot of my content, and particularly my video about what happened in the basement, you have a good idea of what I think happened in the basement, and it is significant and gruesome and horrible. And also, we know that the garage is a place where there was a lot of horrible, tragic activity that night as Chris Watts brought his family members out to his truck through the garage and then drove them to Survey 319. Oh my gosh. So the basement and the garage in the Watts house are two hallowed locations where unthinkable acts occurred. Okay, so let's go on to listen to some more of the EVPs that can be heard during that body cam footage when they are doing the search through the house.
So there's your attic access right there.
And oh my gosh, guys, I think in addition to the one that we just listened to, the first one, "This is our home," to me, this is the most chilling. You can very clearly hear a voice saying, "I'm with Cece." Listen again.
there's your attic access right there.
Now, shortly after Officer Lyons and Jane with her dog enter the house, you can very clearly hear something that sounds like a voice shouting, "No!" And then what is also interesting about it is what Jane, the dog handler, says right after. Take a listen. Jane says, "That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm taking note. That's interesting." But we don't know what she's talking about, and it happens right after we hear the voice shouting, "No." And finally, we have what I think are the most significant EVPs. We have Officer Lyons and another dog handler walking out into the garage, and I'm not going to put any words on the screen. Let me see if you hear the EVP, and I want to know, what do you think is said, if anything? What I think I hear is, "Let's look there." I've noticed a bunch of people have pointed this out, that they hear something, but they weren't sure what was heard, so I slowed down the audio and worked in my audio editor, and what I hear is, "Let's look there." So guys, I'll be honest, prior to watching this video and hearing these sounds that sound like voices saying certain things related to this family, I knew about EVPs, and I had watched some things before where there were supposed EVPs saying actual words, and usually it doesn't sound like anything to me. There have been some occasions where I thought, oh, there is something to it. But after watching this video and hearing what I hear in this video, I am a believer in EVPs. What is it that could be causing those sounds that sounds like words related to the family? We're going to watch a video clip from the paranormal investigator named Franco. That is the name of his channel, and I'll put it in the description box. He had been to the Watts house before, and he's returning a second time, and he's using thermal imaging. Take a look.
Now, let's use a thermal imaging camera and see what we can see. This should actually be pretty interesting. Hold on, let me put the tan cam away for a second. That's the house through the thermal. This thing is awesome. Here, I'll walk towards the side of the place here. Yeah, I could zoom in on the night vision. I think I'm the only one. Ooh, that was weird. I don't know if that was me, but I think I saw... You know what's weird? Look at the front, the top window to the right. That one's the only one that it looks like there's something behind it. Right above the small garage door, the right window. What is that about? I'm gonna take a picture of that. Now I'm hearing noises. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna switch to the night vision to see what's up with that window, because that is odd. That is wild.
And then, a few minutes later into the video,
Just watching there. Look at that. I am literally getting a heat signature right in front of that window. Like someone's standing there. Yeah, you're right. I'm waiting for it to clear there. Bam. Oh my god, that is insane.
And apparently these two rooms, what I just read online, was the two little girls' rooms.
what looks to be something peering out from the second floor window. I'm looking through all the other rooms. Let's look down. Let me see if I can lower the intensity here. There we go. And there is something standing onto the second floor room here. Oh, it just moved. Look, it looks like a head and something holding its hand on the window. What the hell is that? Again, I'm only doing this so that way you guys could have... Oh, it just moved. A clear, high quality video so you can see better than on a live stream. I did leave a teddy bear here only because I was kind of up to date with what was going on, and this is such a sad story. But on the live stream, someone asked me about you. Look, I just got movement again. Someone asked me if I could use a thermal imaging camera, and so I did. Now, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go ahead and switch the imaging into a different image to see what it looks like on a thermal imaging instead of this color. Give me 1 second. Alright, so now I switched it to fully infrared, and what was weird about this one is that I want to see if I can still see it, but on the front door it looks like somebody was staring at me. Let's look at the top floor there. As you can see, that looks like the warmest window, and there it is. Looks. I'm gonna keep as still as I can. What the hell is that? What is that? Does that look like someone with their head in their hand holding against the window? Look, and now it's changing. There it goes. Oh, it moved. What the hell am I seeing? Again, this is coming straight from an infrared perspective. Look, it looks like somebody else just came in on the far left. Oh, my arm is getting tired. Oh, whoa. Look. That is so creepy. It looks... I'm not even going to tell you what it looks like. You guys... I'll leave that up to you guys. But oh my God.
So what you are seeing there, where you're seeing the impressions from the thermal imaging, is in Bella's room. That is the window to Bella's bedroom.
So what happened next? Still there? Okay. So then Shanann's in the truck. Then went back to the house.
We got everybody out in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
And the truck?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first, and then Bella was next. Was Bella alive when you guys got in the truck? Oh, okay. What happened?
I woke back up.
Okay.
I don't really want to talk about this part, honestly. Those are my kids. Just what baby I'm just talking about every night. I help Steve out.
Okay.
Every time I see pictures, I don't know how it's usually.
So if you know the story about the Watts tragedy, you know the terrible fate that Bella suffered. That she saw what was going on when Chris took the life of her mother, and then she took that horrible ride to Survey 319 and was speaking to him, and he talks about her last moments when Bella says, "Daddy, no." So if there is, a spirit in that house, could it have something to do with Bella? I personally believe, and I like to believe, and I do believe, that Bella is in a better place, that her spirit is with her maker and she is forever free and filled with love and joy. But is there something to the idea that there is some energy that is beyond our comprehension in the Watts house? And could it possibly be connected to Bella, as Franco's video is certainly implying, based on his findings from his paranormal investigation? And then there's this. For those of you who've been following the case, do you remember September Lady? And for those of you who haven't, I'm going to read a passage from the Watts case discovery about a very curious event that happened in September of 2018, about a month after the murders. It says, on September 21st, 2018, at about 18:05 hours, I, Sergeant Manley, was advised by the Weld County Dispatch of a suspicious incident at 2825 Saratoga Trail with town limits in Frederick, Colorado. I was advised that the reporting party, Sandy, stated that she got a text from an unknown number, and the text stated that the back door to 2825 Saratoga Trail was open. Sandy said that there should not be anyone in or near the house at this time. I arrived at the house with Officer Lines. We walked up to the front door of the house and tried to open the front door. The door was secure. I looked through the windows of both sides of the door and did not see anything out of place or any sign that somebody had made entry into the house. Officer Lines and I walked around to the front of the house to access the gate in the backyard. I tried to pick up on both garage doors to ensure they were still secure. As we walked around the house, I was looking at all windows and screens. I did not see anything out of place or that would indicate that someone gained access to the house from the windows. We walked around to the back of the house. I noticed that on the back door, the screen door was slid open. I walked up the steps and observed that the door was closed, and there was a security bar in place preventing anyone from entering through that door. The curtains were in place and did not seem disturbed. After looking to see that all the windows and doors appeared secure in the back of the house, we walked back up to the front. As I was walking by the garage, I noticed that the garage lights were on. I did not recall that the lights were on when I walked up the first time. The house appeared secure at this time, and I did not see any indication that someone had been in or around the house. Officer Lines and I cleared without incident. At 19:51 hours, I was contacted by dispatch again. I was told that Frank Rusick called in stating he spoke to the neighbor Nate. According to Frank, Nate said the garage lights were still on and they had not been on the days in the past. I responded back to the address and spoke with Nate. He was able to show me video from his Xfinity home security system on his phone. He showed me that a female walked up to the house at about 900 hours and was seen walking up to the front door. There is no video of this female leaving the area. And shortly after, there's a black SUV top windows of the garage, and he says that he didn't see anything that was unusual inside of the garage. Nate explained that he had spoken with the other neighbors in the area, and they had also not seen any lights on in the garage over the last few days. While I was looking in the windows, I pushed on the garage, sounding an alarm. I spoke to Frank by the phone, and he told me he did not think the light should have been on either. He told me about the alarm, and he stated that he did not think the alarm was set when he left the residence a few weeks prior. He asked if we would clear the house and make sure no one was in the house. They provided me with a door code for the front door. I explained that I would get a few more officers at the house, and we would make sure there was no one there. So this officer is saying that he got to the house, he checked it out, walked around to the back. When he came back around to the front, curiously, the garage lights were on, but they weren't, from what he remembered, when he first approached the house. And then later that night, he was called back to the house, and once again, mysteriously, the garage lights were on, and they had not been in the past few days, according to everybody. And then there is this issue of this woman seen walking into the Watts house on that same day, but never seen leaving. What could explain all of this? What you see in the body cam footage that we are watching now is when the officers returned later that evening after Frank Rusick contacted them and said that the garage lights were still on and that he had confirmed with the neighbors that they hadn't been in days, and he asked officers if they could clear the house. And as reported in the Passage of Written Discovery, that is exactly what they did. And they did so without incident, although there are some points during this body cam footage where the officers seem to be very alarmed. So let me show you that footage.
Frederick Police Department, anybody in the basement? Frederick Police Department, make yourself known!
Gotcha.